What is going on, guys? It's Ben here, bringing you another Clash Royale video. In yesterday's video, I said that I was going to be giving you some tips for low-level or beginner players. So let's get right into it. The first tip that I'm going to tell you about is basically about deck building. So honestly, I know it's really tempting to put in like a bunch of good cards, or high elixir cost cards, because one, they're really strong, they're really cool. But that's going to slow down your deck quite a bit. You want to have a good mixture of low elixir cost cards and high elixir cost cards. So it's good to, it's good to keep like under, you can have a high average of elixir, but I'd say like anything below 4 is great. Anything over that is going to be a little rough, because you want to cycle through your deck as fast, well, not really as fast as possible, but you want to cycle through it, and you want to be able to counter your opponent. And if you only have high elixir cards, it's going to be hard to counter them in a good way. So if you had it's more apparent once you get more cards, but for right now I don't have too many. But you want to always keep a good mixture of low elixir cost cards like the goblins or whatever. And then you always want to have you don't want to have too many good cards. Well, they're all good, but like too many trump cards. Like for this one, the way I usually am going to win if I'm playing is going to be a mini P.E.K.K.A or a prince pushing down the lane. And then I also have the giant here, just kind of like a meat shield, because I don't really have any defensive buildings at this point. So it's called keeping a good balance. That's tip 1. The other tip that I can tell you is more of in the game, and well, actually all the other ones are pretty much in the game. It's gonna be me kind of explaining here, so I'm gonna be in here. We'll get him with a heck yeah. So this one I already kind of mentioned in my last video when I was talking about Clash Royale Noob. So you can see how he dropped his giant. You don't want to drop your giant like that, because you can't put much. You can't build up an army behind him. So a few times you'll see like a person. I'm gonna drop my prince back here just to take out this Valkyrie. But a lot of times you'll see people drop their troops behind their king tower at the higher level. Well, not higher levels, but just in general. And you want to do that so you can build up your army to get a good push going, and then it'll slow down. But this freaking witch, man, Jesus. So he actually did win that trade there, but you want to get a push going behind your army, so you can like get it built up as you go, and you can slowly but surely, gradually build up, and put more cards there. But this guy's doing a pretty aggressive push. He actually did a pretty good job right there of doing that. So we're gonna drop my giant just to mitigate a lot of the damage there. And we're gonna drop these goblins up in here because he really doesn't have anything splash, but they'll do a ton of damage to take all that out. And there is the mini P.E.K.K.A going ham. So we have a ton of goblins here. Let's see what he can do about it. Alright. So that was tip 2. Tip number 3 is another interesting one. It's kind of learning what your cards are really good at taking out and what they're not at, and see how he's doing a good job of dropping his troops in the back there. I'm actually going to counter push with this prince on this side here and see what he can do about it. He's going to have to do something about that prince, otherwise it will take his tower. But once this giant gets a little closer, I'm going to drop my mini P.E.K.K.A in the back there. And he's not even worrying about my prince at all, but I'm going to drop a mini P.E.K.K.A right on this witch here. We already took his tower, and that leads me to my next tip too. It's counter pushing. What I just did right there was, see how he didn't really do anything to stop that prince? Well, that's something that you're gonna have to get the feel for, what you think your troops can take out and what you don't. So I felt as though with the army that I had behind my tower, it was gonna be able to take out his giant push with that whatever. So don't be afraid to drop on the other side of the lane, make them worry about that. So it's kind of counter push. Oh shoot, the game's not over. I was gonna get into a big talk mode there, but yeah, say they use a bunch of elixir on one side of the lane. Don't be afraid to do something on the other side of the lane and just go for it. It'll force them to either continue on with their push on their one side, or it's gonna force them to counter your other push or counter stop your side push, and then it'll kind of split their forces. And if they don't do anything about it, you can see what happens. It'll just make me take their tower like that. Next guy was level 3. We'll hit him with the good game. So that's kind of like 3 tips in there. It's kind of, you gotta learn your cards, what they're really good at taking out at, or what they're good at taking out, and don't drop more troops than you really need to stop a push, because otherwise they'll kind of go to waste. You kind of just want to drop the troops that you know will take it out, and then rebuild your elixir, and then be patient, and then watch what they're gonna drop. I know this may be a lot to take in at once, but it's just like a lot of necessary things that will help once you start playing more, start battling a little bit more. And a lot of it's just kind of memorization. So the fourth tip that I'm gonna go over now, well, you can see how I'm gonna drop my giant here in the back so I can like build up troops behind it. He is gonna force me to counter over here with the mini P.E.K.K.A. But if I kill that Valkyrie, I'm actually gonna drop. Oh god, this guy's got baby dragon. I don't really have anything to take out a baby dragon at this point except for my archers and spear goblins. So Wesley, you got me good on that one. But I'm gonna drop a bomber up here. The giant should get to the tower, hopefully. And he's not even doing anything about my giant, so we'll probably actually take out his crown tower there, hopefully. And yeah, we'll get it. Okay. So now I'm actually going to drop a giant kind of close up in here. So my tower is kind of weak, but what? Oh, I don't even remember what I was talking about. We're gonna need to get rid of these. Okay, so hopefully my mini P.E.K.K.A. can slow down this giant, somewhat take him out. Sorry, I'm really concentrating because I do not want to lose here. This guy's a level 3, he's a level higher than me. He's got a freaking dragon that I can't really stop. Why did I take out the musketeer? Okay. I still think we can win this here. There's a minute left, it's gonna be double elixir. He's wasting fireballs on my stuff. What is he gonna do about the mini P.E.K.K.A.? Drop a giant? Or is he just gonna take the damage? Okay, fine, sir. I see what you did there. I see you. Now I'm gonna have to wait until this dragon starts hitting my giant. I'm gonna have to use my giant to mitigate all that damage, or negate that damage, and he's gonna drop a fireball. So since I have a P.E.K.K.A. and everything like that, I'm gonna drop another giant here. We're gonna mount a huge push right here. If he doesn't stop this, it's gonna be GG. So we kind of just waited back. His baby dragon isn't gonna do much, even though we can't stop that. It's fine. There's 17 seconds. Pretty much we just gotta play defense for 17 seconds, 15 seconds now, or 13, 12, whatever. Time's always changing. Then we could aggressively push down his tower. He almost had me. 3, 2, 1, the 3 crown. There we go. So we'll hit him with the good game. I really need to get to level 3 though. But I can't open up any chests, and I can't upgrade anything. So that was that's kind of a lot of tips right there, guys. I'm trying to talk and play at the same time, so I'm just gonna go over these one more time. It's have a good mixture of low elixir cost cards and high elixir cost cards. You gotta memorize like the elixir cost on the cards, because you want to keep track of the enemy, like how much elixir he's going, and don't just spam troops down the lane. Do not spam troops. Like you see a lot of people maybe doing that early on, but you want to wait, maybe sit back, see what they're going to be coming at you with, and then counter that. And then once you get a good feel of what your troops are good at taking out at, or like can take out, and then you kind of drop them and see what you can do. So that's tip 2. Tip 3 is counter pushing. If you see an opportunity if they're doing a heavy, like all their elixir on one side of the lane, do not be afraid to drop troops on the other side to make them have to worry about that. Otherwise they're gonna lose their tower. Like maybe drop a giant, like in my case I dropped the prince. So that's tip number 3. So then tip number 4, well I already kind of went over 4 tips, because I went over the elixir, counter pushing, deck building, and then learn what your troops do and everything like that, and don't drop more troops than you really have to, because it'll be crucial to maybe have some other troops. And then tip number 5 is dropping your troops in the back behind the king tower sometimes to ramp up and help your troops, like get troops behind it to do a full-on push. so you're not wasting a ton of elixir, so you have maybe enough elixir to react. You guys can see that with the giant, it's perfect because the giant's really slow, and if you just drop them up front, you can't maybe put a full troops like around it. Next one, well, that's just kind of like super beginner stuff. Some other, I guess this is like just some random tips. I'm gonna do one more battle here because since I already went over the main tips I wanted to tell you guys for this video, because I know a lot of you are in the beginners and maybe don't know this stuff, but it's also trying to, so this guy's doing double goblins down the lane, okay, and he's dropping a fireball. So I don't know if here's a perfect tip, do not use fireballs on the towers, like just on the towers on themselves. If you can hit a troop and the tower at the same time, then it's good. But if it's not, otherwise it's just wasting elixir. The damage done to the tower, unless you can kill the tower. That's the only time you ever want to drop like a spell solely on a tower, is if you can kill it. If you can't kill it, it's literally a waste of elixir. Or if you can get it low enough so your next one would kill it. But you want to use typically your spells on your enemy troops, or if you do want to hit it on the tower, maybe try and get the splash damage between the tower and the troops. So right here, he's not gonna be able to stop this push, I don't think. I have too much built up, and from him spamming his spells and everything, it was not very effective. So we just countered him with what we thought we needed, and then your troops. That's why it's so important to not drop more than you need. Because then you'll still have troops alive and can maybe counter push that way. So that was a very quick victory, and I didn't even get to explain that. Hey, we got a crown chest here. Can we upgrade anything? No. Well, if you guys have any other tips that maybe I'm forgetting, well, beginner tips, I know there's a ton more things that I'll do that I can just tell you as I like remember them and go throughout the game. And once I get more cards, it's easier to explain because I'm kind of just explaining with the cards that I have right now. But good counters to the prince are dropping goblins in front of them, because I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, the prince is so strong, I can't do anything about him. Literally, you gotta run goblins, and if you're running into princes, like, the prince will speed up down the lane, and then you drop goblins right before he hits your tower. So your tower is shooting at him and your goblins are shooting at him, because they're very low health, so his huge push isn't gonna matter, or his huge double attack damage. So goblins are good counter to prince. Same with goblins are good counter to mini P.E.K.K.A.s as well. And then the only really counters to dragons, if you're running into a lot of dragons, are musketeers and the archers early on, and spear goblins. Another thing is, don't just use your, I saw this a couple other times in attacks, don't just use your skeleton army as a pushing tactic, because they're super easy to take out. Only use it to, like, this is a great counter for princes as well, because the prince will just literally be hitting the skeletons forever and the mini P.E.K.K.A.s. So if you have the skeleton army, maybe try running that to stop the princes down. But it is 4 elixir, so I find goblins just work out better for me. So those are kind of just beginner tips. You can also drag troops away from your tower. Like if you put, say this prince is running down the lane and you drop goblins behind him, he'll kind of retract and like attack the goblins behind him instead of the tower. So you gotta kind of feel that. I know it's kind of a tricky concept, but it's easier with buildings too to drag troops. There's a lot of info in this video here about the beginning stuff. It's just tips that I know. If some of it didn't make sense, I apologize. I know I'm not the best explainer when I'm kind of distracted. If you guys have any other tips that you want, maybe a more explanation, well, not really a more explanation on, but if you guys have any tips to offer, maybe leave them in the comment section below. For those of you guys that are learning or wanting to like know more about Clash Royale, I'm sure you can get some value in the comments from other people as well. Just help each other out. But I will be coming up with more tip videos. I'll still be playing on Benton 1 Noob, and I'll be progressing through this one, usually without gems and stuff. Just to progress with you guys and everything like that. So maybe I can, it's like so I can have both spectrums. I did the same thing with Boom Beach, where I'll have like a beginner account, so you guys can learn everything in a higher level account, so in case you guys want to see some high level gameplay and everything like that. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you did, and don't forget to subscribe for more Clash Royale videos if not ready. I hope you guys learned something today, and I'll see you guys later.